All right, everybody, welcome into another edition of our Bulls video mailbag. As always, we thank you for your questions. Let's get to this week's right away. Our first one comes from @𝗏cie_𝗰𝗶. Nick asks, if we make the play-in and win both games, do you see the front office making a splash in free agency? All right, let's hold our horses there, Nick. I think, as I've mentioned before, this is going to be a multi-year rebuild process centered on the draft. You have seen this front office prioritize, as you say, free agency in the past and/or trades. They substantially revamped this roster in that 2021 offseason with the sign and trade acquisitions of Lonzo Ball and DeMar DeRozan and the free agent signing of Alex Caruso. They had previously traded for Nikola Vucevic, and they cashed in a lot of first-round picks to do so. I think if you listen closely to what management is saying, they are prioritizing young players with experience with their recent acquisitions. But now, in the regaining of their draft capital with the Zach LaVine trade, they are going to be all in on the draft. And most scouts say that the 2025 and the 2026 drafts could be good ones. So I do not see them making a big splash in free agency. I also do not see them winning both play-in games, but I digress. All right, question number 2 comes from 𝗏𝗶 @𝗏𝗏. I like that name. 𝗏cie𝗰𝗶, is this upcoming draft considered a big part of what comes to play over the next few years, AKA, not to be confused with AK? Can I assume that the Bulls would be willing to make trades to move up in this draft? It's not like we're talentless, we're likely too good as is to ever gain a top 5 pick. We had a similar question to this one from our longtime follower, 𝗏cie𝗰𝗶, all the way from Brazil, so we thank you for that question as well. We just went with 𝗏𝗏 to get some new blood in here. And look, the Bulls are going to be aggressive this offseason, there's no question. We talked about them laying the groundwork for potential future moves at the trade deadline. So they are going to be looking to be aggressive, and yes, I could see them trying to move up in the draft depending on where their draft lottery status is. The issue is, what is their asset pool? It's not deep. They have traded Zach LaVine, they have traded DeMar DeRozan, they have traded Alex Caruso. Nikola Vucevic is having a wonderful season, but as we saw at the trade deadline, his market can be limited. So yes, I think they will be aggressive trying to move up if they need to. I mean, maybe they'll get lucky and win the draft lottery. I just don't see them owning a lot of assets. I will tell you, gone are the days of them cashing in first-round draft picks for short fixes. They are all in on the draft these next 2 years, and I think their first strategy is to try to get lucky in the draft lottery. All right, question number 3 comes from @BrunsonHater, aka Talen Horton Tucker. This is not the real Talen Horton Tucker, and I also am not a Brunson hater. It's well documented. I've known Jalen since he was this high, because his father Rick not only coached here but played here. So wonderful to see the success that Jalen Brunson, the local product, is having. @𝗏cie𝗰𝗶, if we re-sign Josh Giddey this offseason, highly likely, his words, what do you think the contract looks like? Well, I will tell you what it will not look like, and that will be hopefully one with a player option and 5 years long. Yes, I am referring to the Patrick Williams deal, and I've been told in conversations with people in the team and around the team that the Bulls have learned from that situation. They were pretty proactive in re-signing Patrick Williams to that 5-year deal. I've always maintained that the $18 million annual average is not what bums me out about that deal. It's the length of that deal and that player option. So Josh Giddey, if he continues his recent strong play, is going to play himself into a nice deal. But I just don't think you can go 5 years in a player option. It's well documented that Josh Giddey is the highest member of his draft class not to reach a rookie contract extension before the season. The person right before him, Jalen Suggs, got $30 million annually from the Orlando Magic. I do not see the Bulls going that high, and there are not a lot of teams with cap space this offseason. So my feeling is, if you're the Bulls, you let Josh Giddey go try to get an offer sheet, you hold hard line on a number and sign him to more of a team-friendly deal, maybe find some common ground with his number and your number and go a little bit closer to your number. We'll see how it plays out. You just can't repeat the Patrick Williams mistake, in my opinion. All right, our last question comes from 𝗦cie_𝗶𝗹_𝗟𝗡_. Life's too short to hate, man. We don't want to hate. We're lovers here at the Bulls Video Mailbag and at CHSN. All right, KC, any thoughts? Modest Buzelis, literally any. I just want to get that ball rolling. I love this question. We always try to end with a lighthearted question, and we have not talked a lot about Modest Buzelis this week. So any thoughts about Modest Buzelis? Well, I can tell you that Kendall Gill and I are continuing our fun debate as to who has a higher ceiling, Modest Buzelis or 𝗂𝗶 𝗟𝗏. Previously, I pled ignorance, saying I'd never seen 𝗂𝗶 𝗟𝗏 play with my own eyes, just having seen highlights and talked to people about him. That has now changed. I watched a good second half of that blowout of Illinois, Duke's blowout of Illinois, and I'm here to say that 𝗂𝗶 𝗟𝗏 is going to be a good NBA player. Duh. I mean, his handle, his strength, his athleticism, his two-way play, his aggressiveness. Again, this is all against college competition, but I see him being a very good pro. As to who has the higher ceiling, Kendall Gill maintains it's Modest Buzelis because he has got more athleticism, more size at 6'10". Obviously, he needs to get stronger. It's going to be a fun debate, and I know for a fact the Bulls would love to have that debate play out right here in Chicago after they win the draft lottery. But regardless of what happens with 𝗂𝗶 𝗟𝗏, Modest Buzelis is here to stay. He, to me, is the future of this franchise, and I love the fact that he played a career-high 36 minutes in Philadelphia. More of that, please. And more of your questions next week, please. We will answer 4 more next week. We certainly appreciate you sending in these this week, and we'll catch you next time on the Bulls Video Mailbag.